So I told you I was going to have the recipe and everything ready because I'm making my Alfredo bread bowl. So here we go. Water is boiling. I have started my Alfredo sauce, which is heavy cream, whole milk, salt, pepper, and plenty of cheese, obviously. So we're letting that cook. Water's boiling, so we're ready to go. We are going with cavatappi. Yes. Give it a little stir, mix around those starches so it doesn't stick. Cavatappi is like the fancy macaroni, I think, like, or pasta that you would use to go with any type of Alfredo or mac and cheese. I just think it gives that like a little extra, like, ooh, look at me, I'm a twirly curly type of pasta. It's cute. Now once I'm done stirring all these starches in, I'm gonna let that cook. My oven just went off. It's at 400 to stick my bread bowl. And here is my beautiful bread bowl. We're gonna get cutting this. So we're gonna cut this bread bowl. I'm gonna cut it like rectangular and kind of have thick holes, but kind of thin too, so you can fit as much pasta in there as you want, but where it's not falling apart because of the moisture from the sauce. So we are doing something a little bit like this. Okay, so it's kind of like this. I cut it, you can see like the lines where I cut it all the way around. And then we're going to kind of go in here and just like work it out. Work it out. So it's coming out like one big little loaf. And then you just kind of grab as much as you can afterwards, and you just rip the rest out anyway. So we kind of got it out like this so far, and I'm not one to waste, so I will be actually grabbing another one of my wax papers and put my bread on, because we can definitely make some homemade breadcrumbs with these. So that's awesome. You can love homemade breadcrumbs or homemade stuffing. Like, what? My husband will eat stuffing any time of year, so it's always the best. So I'm just taking out the rest of this bread here. It looks a little bit like that when you're done. See, like all of it's mostly hollowed out. But like I said, we want a pretty big, thick bottom still, so that it all doesn't get soggy because of the sauce. So I still am going to take like all the bottom little bits out and like the corner bits so that we have all that extra space. So now that that is all done, I have like a whole little like loaf that I'm probably going to try to keep, or I'm going to cut up in pieces and store it in a storage bag. That way I can make my homemade breadcrumbs. So we are going to go back to taking care of the pasta and the sauce, obviously, and then once it's ready, we're going to mix that together and throw it in here, and I'm going to take you with me for that too. So, and we're back, and we're stirring, and we're stirring, and we're loving it, and we're loving it. This is the relaxing part of my day, is being able to cook food, something that I love, something I'm looking forward to, I'm enjoying. This is bubbling, so I don't want it to start sticking. We need it to coag, so we're going to down that to keep warm. Like I said, big loaf of bread left. A couple things I didn't get to. Seasoning some of my sauce. I like to put some seasonings in it. I like a tasty sauce. I don't like a very bland sauce. I cannot deal with it. Literally would kill a whole meal for me. Wow, that's still bubbling, so I'm going to take that actually off the heater for a minute, only because it takes a little bit for the heater to actually like cool down to warm, so I don't need it sticking while it's in the midst. So that was just a little onion salt and some parsley. Make it look fancy. And then, you know, pepper, oregano, whatever you want to do, whatever your preference is, whatever your likes are for seasonings. But I would just say, don't go bland with it, girl. Don't go bland with it. Italian herbs like And see, I love this one. It's got all these different seasonings attached. They're good for pizza, they're good for salads, they're good for you name it. So a little bit of that in there. We're going to stir that up while the burner cools down so we can keep it nice and warm. That's bubbling like a mother. So like I said, all that bread's going to go here in a bag. I'm going to store it in the freezer for when I'm ready to make breadcrumbs and stuffing. Now we're just going to mix this sauce in while it's al dente because we want to make sure there's moisture in there, but we don't want to use all the sauce because then when it comes out from baking, we don't want it to be dry. So that's what we're doing here. Mixing that up, and then we're going to throw it right into our beautiful bread bowl. What we don't want to do is put it in the bread bowl too hot, so we're going to actually have to let this cool for a little bit. So now we got the setup, we got the sauce, the pasta, with the sauce in it cooling down, and the beautiful bread bowl. We have our extra grated cheese that I mixed with Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. What I like to actually do is put a slice of cheese down on every bottom layer so it doesn't go through. It actually kind of gives it a layer of cheese that'll melt through, and then it won't go through the bread and make it soggy. So we're going to take each slice and layer them pretty good, like over each other, so that we have a pretty good amount of cheese that it's going to have to melt through to even try to make this amazing dinner soggy. So we're going to do one more slice, if I can get it even off the thing. And then I think that'll do it before we can start putting the warm Alfredo. Yeah, that's all my extra, like, don't ask. Anyway, here is the layer of cheese we need. Now we're gonna actually scoop this out now that it's actually like cooled down. You see how nice it looks. And we're gonna actually start putting that in there. We're gonna stuff this and pile it and pack it down as much as we can. Okay? And we're gonna do that with the whole thing. Then I'm just gonna ladle some sauce all on top. Like I said, you don't want it to be dry. And that sauce that cooled down is going to dry even more when it's baking. So we're just covering this with some more Alfredo sauce. See that? Oh. Then we're going to finish it off with the cheese on top. When the cheese is done, look at that. Wait till it's baked. You're going to cook this for about 30 minutes. So it's baking for 30 minutes. Stay tuned for the family taste test. Easiest, most delicious meal that looks exciting, it's fun to make, and it's super easy for your kids and your family, especially if you're a family of 6 like mine and you have to figure out how to make dinner fun and not repetitive. And we love Alfredo, but I think they get sick of it. So here's an awesome fun take on it, and you get to have bread instead of having to make separate bread. Oh my god, this is amazing. Gotta love it. See you guys soon for the taste test.